Hey, what's going on, everybody? Appreciate you tuning back into another video. What we're going to do today is go over some Bitcoin TA. All right. I haven't done this in a little bit, so I wanted to bring you back my thoughts on this whole situation that we're in right now. So, if you see this yellow line, we're looking at a pretty solid support line. It's touching 3 times, so we know it's confirmed as a support. Same thing goes for this red line as resistance. We're looking at a really solid resistance line that we've been fighting since 20,000. And we've seen both these lines in previous videos. Now, we're also looking at this 55-day or this 55 period EMA that we're looking at. And I actually like to look at this EMA a little bit more on the 1-day charts instead of the 4 hours. But we're going to leave that in there for now. So then what we're looking at is this section right here. We've finally broken through this resistance. And we've definitively broken through. We've seen a little bit of a pullback, which is a really good sign, and then we bounce back up. So this is really good to see. And you're still seeing a possibility of a larger downward trend, and there are people who are still calling for lower lows. But what I like to see is on the 1-day chart, a close above this resistance line. And to date, we've seen 2. So we've seen 2 1-day candles close above this resistance. So I'm very, very happy with that. And we've also seen 2 1-day candles close above this 55-day EMA spread. So I'm happy with that as well. And I would really like to keep trading above this 55-day. And once this 55-day is evening out like it is on the bottom and we start to get an uptick, I think we're going to see a pretty quick and steady rise as we go. So I'm pretty convinced that this was our bottom at 6,000-ish, wherever that was. Yeah, right around here. So I'm of the opinion that we're going to continue upward. A lot of people are really concerned with the volume. They're saying, oh, there's no volume. This is so bad. But if you look back in time, especially during our bull run, you'll see, yeah, there were some larger bullish candles, but in these consolidation periods, which I like to look at that we're in a consolidation period right now, and we might kind of fluctuate in this region for a little while. I don't think we're going to go on some gnarly bull run like we were in this situation. I don't think that's going to happen in the next 2 or 3 weeks. I think we're going to need to consolidate, find our place, and then move upward in maybe the second half of the year. I don't think we're just going to launch back up to 100K. I just don't see that happening. So the volume is not really worrying me too much at this point in time. So to everybody who says, oh, the volume's low, you guys are all Bitcoin shills and you don't know anything about it, I don't really see your argument. I think that when we're in these consolidation periods, the volume is quite a bit lower than what we're at right now. And we're seeing a bigger uptick in volume than we were back in the day here. Same goes for in some of these situations back here. And we had really low volume in this situation, and we were still in a bullish market. We're still moving up. So I'm not too worried about the volume. Let's move on past that so we can get past that. Let's go back to the 4 hour. One thing I wanted to note is this was our original Elliot wave count, and I think we played that out perfectly. I think that is exactly what happened. I think we had a perfect Elliot wave, and then we had a perfect Elliot wave correction. So let me go in here and draw that for you. So we had our A, our B, and our C wave correction. And now I think we're working in a new Elliot cycle here. So we're starting with our 1, and you can look at different macro and micro Elliott waves here. So you can look at, your 1, your 2, your 3 in here, your 4 and your 5, and that could be your micro. And I'm not going to draw these little microwaves, but microwaves. That was a good one. But I'll get to this in a bit. So what I really wanted to get to is this inverse head and shoulders pattern that everybody and their mother is talking about. So we have this big inverse head and shoulders. Let me just get this out of the way so we're not focusing on that. We have this big inverse head and shoulders, And it's playing out perfect. Your left shoulder here, dropping down into your head. You're going back up, touching the neckline, dropping down into your right shoulder. And we are about to test this line. If we break through this, we are in a very, very good spot in Bitcoin. And if you look at this 55 period EMA that we're looking at here, we're definitely trading above it, which is a really good sign. And as you can see, it looks as if though it bottomed out here for sure, but we're back on this upward trend again. So that's also a very good sign. I'm looking at this. Like I said, I don't like to look at this too much in the 4-hour candles. I like to rely on this 55-day in the 1-day candles. So anyway, let's go back to this smaller inverse head and shoulders that we were talking about a while ago. And this actually completed already. And if you look at this, we have a neckline to here. Okay. Now, if you have this, let's clone this one. If you have this neckline, generally speaking, and this is not an exact science, but generally speaking, your run up after an inverse head and shoulders or a head and shoulders pattern, your run down will be generally the length of the head to the neckline. And so if that's the case, we're seeing a very nice run up here to this end of this 5-wave. I sort of predicted that this 5-wave would end a little bit higher towards the, what is that, the $12,000 range, but we ended up more towards the $11,600 range. But this neckline is sitting at about the 12,000, somewhere in that region. You know, this is not an exact science. I'm not even measuring this out very properly, but if that's the case, then we got pretty darn close. And then we had our ABC correction. So that seems to have been confirmed by me, at least. You know, you can argue that in the comments, however you like. But then if we look on a bigger scale, we're seeing an even bigger head and shoulders pattern that I was kind of hinting at in my last TA video. Left shoulder, head, all the way down at our 6,000, all the way back up to the neckline, bottomed out here, back up, and we're about to test this line at the $11,600 range, somewhere in there. I think I marked it at the $11,550 range. So now, people, if we are going to repeat the previous results, which doesn't necessarily happen all the time, but it's a good indication of what could happen in the future. You know, we don't know for sure, but this is something that could happen in the future. So if we do breach through this line, it is possible that we end up, I'll write this on screen, at the, what would that be, 17,500? And this is not super accurate, but I'm just using the cursor to find these numbers. But yeah, roughly in that region. And you already saw the smaller head and shoulders pattern play out pretty precisely to this line, to this neckline. And that is what happened. So what I think we're seeing here in a more macro scale is we will be seeing this recent run up that we've seen here. You know, we'll probably see our one somewhere in this range. And once we hit this neckline, I think it's very possible, just how we saw here, that we will decline a little bit. We might hit somewhere back down in this region. And you can use Fibonacci retracements to figure out where this 2 may or may not land. But then we'll see a pretty nice 3-wave. And usually, as you saw back here, these are pretty impulsive. You know, this happened relatively quick compared to what we were used to in this really downward market. So I'm expecting this 3-wave to be pretty nice. And then this 5-wave will probably bring us up to the top at 17,500-ish. So if you think that is the case, then, and you're straight trying to just day trade and scalp some profits here, I'm not opposed to putting in some orders in up here at the 11,550 mark, maybe putting in some sell orders up there if you see it. If we breach well past this, you got to keep your eye on it. But I definitely would have buy orders in here. I would ladder in down in this region. And I'd be looking for a bit of a correction coming up in this region here. And that's just the way it's going to work. This 3-wave is probably going to be a bit longer because we've been seeing these 3 waves be a bit more impulsive than the 5 waves recently. So that's something that has kind of changed in crypto. I've seen, I've done some Forex and I've looked into, I've done a lot of equities trading in the stock market, but the 3 waves generally are large in those other markets and the 5 waves are really large in the crypto markets. But recently I've been doing my Elliot waves here and I've been seeing that the 3 waves have been pretty impulsive and large, quite a bit larger than the 5 waves recently. So I kind of expect that to play out continually as we kind of move on. And then once we get into a larger, more macro scale, I think we probably will see a more macro 5 wave launch us up, kind of how we saw this 5 wave, which was really massive, back in here. So I think that's kind of my analysis. I'm calling the bottom was here at 6,000. I just don't see these other traders. I just don't see it. I don't see it happening. It's possible that we form a lower low in the longer term. I'm not behind it. So this is my technical analysis for now. I'm looking to sort of ladder in on these lower ends, like the 2 and the 4 waves. Definitely be looking out to take profits wherever these 3 waves might end. That's always a good idea, is to take profits. I don't recommend keeping and holding on forever. If we go in here and we do our fib ratio, I didn't want to start it there. That is the wrong spot to start it. So if we go into here, as you can see, we bounced off the 0.382 line. We're bouncing off the 0.236 line, which is really, really healthy. And I think once we reach this upper echelon here, of where we already reached our recent high, I think we will see a bit of a correction. Now, where that correction lands, it could go all the way down to this 0.5. Nah, can't go that far, but it could go down to the 0.382. And this could still be a valid Elliott wave. And if that happens, I'm definitely looking to buy in these regions in here. And I'm looking to take profits up in here. And same goes for up in this region. I'm definitely looking to take profits up in here, ladder in down in here. So that's my analysis. Whether it's perfect, whether it's bulletproof, that's for you guys to decide. But I'm by no means a professional at this. This is just what I'm seeing on this screen at this time. So with that said, if you guys like the video, you want more content like this, please subscribe to the channel, hit the thumbs up, fend off those trolls out there. And I'm going to be doing another couple videos on Profit Trailer and PT Feeder in this market condition that we're in. So I'm going to be uploading those tomorrow and Sunday. So be on the lookout for those. And I will catch you all in the next video. Take it easy.